Okay, it is 5:08. We're gonna call the RFA joint meeting to order between North Shore and Shoreline. Could we please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amy, could you take roll for us, please?
Good evening, Commissioner Fisher,
Here,
Commissioner Havlin,
as an excused absence.
thank you, Commissioner Callahan,
Here.
Commissioner Webster,
Here.
Commissioner Pratt,
Present.
Commissioner Byers,
Present.
Chief Cowan,
Here.
Legal Counsel Brian Snur,
Present.
and I'm Board Secretary Amy Oakley.
Perfect. We will now go on to public comment. Mr. Marin has put his name down on the list, so Mr. Marin, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Dave Marin. I'm a resident of Kemper, Washington, past North Shore Fire Commissioner. I want to address the RFA committee today. First of all, I could find no new information regarding the RFA on your website. No budget update, no financial update, or other information. The information I do have shows a serious imbalance in funding of the RFA and a serious imbalance in the delivery of services to the community served by the RFA. North Shore taxpayers pay about 44% of the AV, but receive 29% of the calls for responses. NFD population comprises 38% of the RFA population, but will contribute an outsized amount from the reserve funds, facilities, and apparatus of the North Shore Fire Department. I could find no justification to move to an RFA. I see no benefits to the community for the RFA versus the contracted services we currently have. The RFA for the information available will cost more than the current contractor services system, almost 1% more. Revenues to the RFA will increase by 5.3%. The draft budget only shows a 1% year-over-year increase, but we all know that's not realistic in today's world. The RFA plan promises a decrease in the effective tax rate for the Shoreline Fire Department members from $1.27 per year per 1,000 AV to $1.11 per year per $1,000 AV. This is an impossible decrease. There is no new revenue that would make that happen. I was told at the last meeting that the reason for the decrease was because the commercial properties would pay a larger share of the benefit charge. The person or who pays the benefit charge is irrelevant because the effective tax rate is the levy revenue plus the benefit charge revenue divided into the assessed valuation. That's how you get your effective tax rate. Just changing who pays the benefit charge doesn't affect that calculation. So can't figure out how you get to.
Thank you, Mr. Marin. Your time is up. I'm sorry.
Thank you for your, appreciate that. I had about 1 more minute, but.
Well, thank you.
Can I,
All
can
right.
I just say one thing?
No,
I'm
you may
frustrated.
not. We need to move on to approval of the past
Really
minutes
don't
from
want public input.
September 23rd, 2024. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve agenda as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Pratt and seconded by Commissioner Callahan. Is there any comments or changes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Passes unanimously, Amy. Planning meeting. I will turn it over to Chief.
So nothing's really changed as far as the documents since the last time that I sent them. At our last meeting, we discussed where to set the equivalent or the fire tax levy rate, and that would drive the need for whatever fire benefit charge levels we needed. we ran 65, 68, and 70 cents on the fire levy to try and determine what the fire benefit charge amount would be. I did have just over this last week received updates to the AV. AV is going up. It's not finalized yet, but it's going up, which actually makes it potentially worse for the fire benefit. I mean, AV growth is potentially good, but as far as the percentage of what's going to fall onto the fire benefit charge, that skews it a little bit more, because if we set the rate at say 70 cents or whatever, then the budget increases would have to be absorbed by the fire benefit charge if we're flat. So it'll change that, but we don't know until we've got the 2025 budget in place. And even then, it's all still going to be estimates and forecasts. I'm working on it. I've gone through the entire budget close. I still have about 15 or 20 items that I need to confirm or input. I'm still waiting for some numbers, but I should have it, a better understanding later this week as far as what the 2025 budget is. That still will not give us exactly what the estimate and the forecast for next year, because AV will not be confirmed until late next month, typically. And sometimes they even wait until the following year. But they've been better in the last couple of years of getting it at least towards the end of the month. But likely we will be setting our 2025 budgets before we have finalized AV, which is again normal, but hopefully we're close by then. It has been fluctuating a bit with some of the levy worksheets. But what I'm looking for tonight is basically what the levy rate will be, the fire tax levy rate will be. And then that will drive, the approximate fire benefit charge. And I guess one of my questions for Brian is, when do we have to have, or what do we have to have for the ballot measure? Do we have to have exact numbers of the fire levy and the amount of the fire benefit charge?
For the plan to go to both participating jurisdictions, I think you need to have a levy rate maximum probably stated. The first year of the RFA, the board could always levy less than the maximum, but you wouldn't want to levy more. Benefit charge just needs to indicate that you're going to levy a benefit charge. You don't have to have the specific amounts for the plan and to go on the ballot. Obviously, to answer questions, you'll need to have some ballpark numbers, but generally speaking, the plan will just identify that you're going to be funded by a tax levy of up to $1 or whatever amount the board wants to put in the plan, and a fire benefit charge pursuant to a formula adopted by the board.
Okay, well, that would be helpful. So really, if we defined the levy rate at say 65, 68, 70 cents, we can put that into the language. And as I work through November and finalize the budgets, I can verbally tell what it's gonna approximately be, but I don't have to have that in the ballot language. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, because I do want to be accurate, I want to be transparent about it, but I just don't know if I'm gonna have that number in time to get it in the ballot language, the language that I gotta take back to both boards and then submit to the county. That's my concern. That's what I'm concerned about. So that helps. So
What I would usually do in a plan, a draft plan, and going to the ballot would state that the RFA will levy up to $1 per thousand and a benefit charge, as established by the board, not to exceed 60% of the operating budget. And then, in your explanatory materials, you can identify lower levy rates. The Department of Revenue in the state will say, even if you have the voters approve a lower levy rate, you would still have bank capacity. So somebody could say it's misleading to say you're going to levy lower when you could always levy more the following year, that type of thing. So I prefer the flexibility, because you never know what's going to happen. The voters approve it, and something bad happens in the world, and suddenly you're not able to fund your RFA based on what you thought you were going to right now. So you have that authority, and I would recommend in the plan that we, put in what the statute allows. And in your explanatory statement or your, educational materials, you can indicate what the goal is to levy less than that.
Okay. So what I'm thinking is that we define at least the fire levy, and I can bring up the spreadsheet that I'm using. And choose whatever we're gonna set that, if we're ready to do that. It could be, like Brian just said, we could do it up to $1, but I think my opinion is that it would be nice to set it at 70 cents or less, because that's what the voters just approved in Lake Forest Park and Kenmore. And that would keep it either flat or a decrease on the levy side. I'll bring up the, Amy, can I share, or will it allow me to share? Yeah, it looks like it will. Can you guys see that? The spreadsheet?
Can you make it a little bit bigger, Chief,
Yeah.
please? There we go.
Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay. So this is extremely rough. It's just, I took the budgets that we have between North Shore and Shoreline now and our AV now, and this is a forecast of, what, at 70 cents, you've seen this before. At 70 cents, and, functioning off of AV growth at 5%, budget growth off 6%, what this looks like. And the reason why I was doing it also is to see what the fire benefit charge, percentage went on line 7 there. And then we're okay, with these percentages. We can play with these percentages however you'd like. But at 70 cents with the current AV, we need $11.6 million fire benefit charge. If I change that to say 68 cents, the fire benefit charge will go up to 12.185. I have sent the FBC factor worksheet with those numbers, both at 68 cents, and actually you have a 65 cent there in your emails too. And so I would like to see either 68 or 70 cents. I don't, if we drop it further, it just means more fire benefit charge. The more we drop the fire levy, the more the fire benefit charge will have to absorb the budget. This budget, again, is just a combination, the 39 million is a combination of existing North Shore and Shoreline right now. And then, as it, then you can put in, we can put in different, you can put in 3%, you can put in 8%, and it changes all the numbers. But I just put 6% in, and 5% is what's being estimated by the King County Financial Office. So I guess that's where I'd like, this is like one of the bigger questions, that and if there's any changes to the draft plan.
I was going through it, Chief. Made a couple notes. On page 8, we need to add a date. It's let's see, let me read it.
I'm gonna,
On the effective date, the boundaries of the RFA would be the legal, da, 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 da. Do we need to put a date in there?
on page 8.
Page 8.
Effective date is defined in section 1 or 2, I think, so that's why it uses effective date.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So we don't need to put a
the effective date is May 1st.
Well, I know that, but
Oh, okay.
I was wondering if we need to put May 1st in there.
Okay. No,
Okay,
it's all.
all right.
Was there any other questions about the draft plan, or I can go back to the spreadsheet too, if you guys like to look at that.
I'd like to spend a little more time on the spreadsheet.
Actually, stop this one then. Back.
So the projected budget is simply a combination of the existing North Shore budget
Right,
and the existing shoreline budget.
which is what these are here. Right. So the 37,260 plus it's at 3% growth right now. I don't know if it's gonna be. I don't know.
What's that 3% growth
I-
budget?
I'm forecast, well, actually, I should leave that
It's
actually
like
zero,
6%.
because actually, what I should be doing is that. Because it's 2024 numbers, so it's not growing. If I wanted to put in the assessed valuation for forecasted for 2025, which is nearly 30 billion, it's just under, as it stands now, I could put in, so like. You know what, I think what I'll do is, I have another spreadsheet, did just earlier today. This. Share. This. No. Yeah, sorry. This. Share. Okay, so this one has. Actually not 30, it's 29. This has an updated. Assessed valuation here. The two. Because this is the one that I'm starting to work on right now, it's incomplete, I just need to keep telling you guys this, it's incomplete. But I'm starting to populate, once I can get the 2025 budget for both North Shore and Shoreline done, I can populate this and I can tell you exactly what the fire benefit charge and stuff needs to be. If we increase that, say 5% on the existing budget, to 40 million, then the assessed valuation and so forth, with the increased assessed, the fire benefit charge goes up to 12.9 million at 65 cents, at 70 cents. It's at 11.5, so it comparatively, it was, I want to say 11.3, or was it 11? 70 cents, so I'm sorry, 10.5, okay, so. So it goes up by $1 million with the 5% budget growth. And the new assessed valuation at 70 cents. Does that, so this is incomplete, I'm working on this week, so. As we get closer to having finalized AD, and as I get closer to finalizing the 2025 budget, I can tell you more exactly, what this estimate should be. Does that make sense?
But just like big picture, chief, we're looking at, cost of living for personnel this year, so you're
4 point, well, anywhere from 3.8 to 4.3.
so we're probably looking at a 5% growth in the budget from 20.
As it stands now, it's at 7%, but I need to go through, like I said, and clean it up. I'm trying to get it down to 5. I don't know if I'll get it to 5, but I'm trying.
Historically, the last decade, what is the average budget growth of Shoreline's budget, North Shore's budget? Are they?
That's really tough to say because it's tied to CPI, and CPI was 10% 2 years ago. So
That's why decade.
So, I would have to look, I would have to do a computation. I would guess probably around that 6%, probably. Some years have been almost zero, because when the CPI was really bad, but then you have 11 or 12% when the CPI was at 10%. Right now, the impacts are actually not CPI. CPI is not what's really hurting us. What's hurting us is inflation on everything else. All the supplies, utilities, everything else is really high.
I guess like my larger point, chief, is you got the if we stay with the contract research, you've got North Shore budget, combined with the shoreline budget equals X. It's the same number under an RFA as it is under the contract research.
The same numbers, yes, but the proportions are different and there's savings. There's some savings, it's not a lot. There's some savings in going to the RFA.
Well, it's
on
not
the
more,
North Shore.
the RFA is not more expensive
No,
than
no, budget,
than the existing.
no, the number's the number.
Yes.
The whole, it's just, how are we, how are we dividing it up? The number will actually go down a little bit with the RFA, not a lot financially, not a lot, but it'll go down some. And then, it just, and then, it depends on the assumptions for reserves and things of that nature that we've talked about before.
Can we pause for just a minute? Tyler's gonna have to leave.
Oh, sorry.
Tyler, did you have any input or conversation about what we're talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay,
Thank you, though.
all right, have a good evening.
Keep
Sorry.
going.
Sorry, thank you. So the difference is that there are some savings with the RFA. And then it depends on what we do with reserves, but one of the bigger reasons why the levy rate is gonna go down too is because right now, especially over the next couple of years, North Shore's budget is inflated to cover capital costs, which, so in time, over the longer term, there would be a decrease in, I've got that graph, I can show it to you. I'm gonna find them. Where did I put it?
So Chief, when the budget is all said and done and finalized, there will be evidence of savings.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
looking at the preliminary, yeah, I understand the preliminary, but when all is said and done, there will be.
yeah, I was gonna find the. Where did I put it? Think I put it here's. Yes. No, that's not. I was gonna show you a graph of the, sorry, give me a second, I can find it. Just need to figure out where I put it. So, sorry. Thought that it would be right. Well, was there any other question? I'm sorry that I don't know where I put it, but I had an analysis of it shows a graph of where the levy rates have been, the equivalent levy rates. The equivalent levy rate for shoreline, back to your question, I guess, Josh. The equivalent levy rate for shoreline is actually dropping at a faster rate than in North Shore, historically, even if you average things out. And part of that reason is because of growth. There's more growth that's occurring, especially compared to Lake Forest Park and shoreline compared to the Lake Forest Park and the North Shore, boundaries. But the biggest difference in the funding and the financial picture of the North Shore Shoreline Fire Department is that the Shoreline Fire Department has a lot of other revenues that come in that are not tied to AV or the fire benefit charge. And so those revenue differences help meter out and lessen the impacts on, being completely dependent on the AV side of things, which the fire benefit charge, is not tied to the AV, but it is in the sense, especially in the North Shore, where you have two primary funding mechanisms. So you have the levy rate, and the fire benefit charge has to catch up with the rest of whatever it is. So, whereas the contracts and everything else that Shoreline has in revenues is different. It helps diversify the revenue stream, so it's not as much of an impact. The fluctuations in the so. I don't know. Do you have questions on where you want it to be? Again, this is next year's. I think the more accurate one, at least right now, is this year's. So again, I should probably share it again. So we can set this at 70 cents. I would either say my recommendation is 70 or 68. 68 cents would be a little bit of a decrease, but I would not want to go. I mean, politically we can, but going higher than 70 cents, that's what Lake Forest Park and Commercial just passed. So I would like to honor that and keep it there. The fire benefit charge is going to impact, again, nearly 100% of the population will see an overall decrease. It's the commercial, and I said this in the last meeting, it's 98% of the properties ish are going to see a decrease in the overall, revenues from the fire benefit charge and levy, the combination. But that 2%, the commercial and multi-families are going to get hit. And it's mostly because of the sprinkler discount. There are a lot of shoreline properties that are going to get hit by this too. And see increases. If you looked at the spreadsheet that I shared with you all, I don't know if you guys looked at it, but a lot of those properties are shoreline properties too.
I noticed.
It's not all North Shore. Even though there is a decrease in the sprinkler discount.
Yeah, it feels like I thought that we had established that 70 cents was our cap, right? So
I wasn't sure if I thought there was still some, maybe not. I thought there was still some discussion.
I thought we were at 77.
Oh, we had 70 cents.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would.
Well,
go
then-
with that.
then that's fine. What I would propose is that I would continue with the 70 cents, continue with my work on the budget and this spreadsheet. And as we lock in on the AV, as we get through, I would say at least probably the middle of next month, as I'll be able to, theoretically we'll be getting closer and closer to an accurate AV, and I'll have an accurate 2025 budget, and I can give a better forecast of what that equivalent levy rate is going to be, the overall equivalent levy rate, because I can plug these things in. In the meantime, we need to develop the language and get the language done so that we can go back to each of our boards and ask for, approval. I am asking for approval in the meetings of the 19th and 21st. So we still have some time to finish up, but I would like to have all the language done and basically just be fine tuning some of the numbers and all that before, within the next couple of weeks. I'd really like to be, if there's any changes to any of this language, that we're getting all that done well in advance of approving at the 19th and the 21st. The 19th is a special meeting for North Shore Board, which is already planned to adopt budget stuff. And the 21st is our regularly scheduled, shoreline meeting. Right, and we're adopting things in that meeting as well. So this, I mean, these meetings might be a little bit busier, but, we're already gonna be talking about a lot of the same issues.
October,
What's that?
November,
November.
November
Okay, that's right.
19th and 21st.
November 19th and 21st, which is,
Okay, got it.
so, so it's that Tuesday and Thursday
For some reason, I don't,
near the end.
we can get the one for Thursday.
Although, if for some reason we have something crazy occur. I am not advocating for this, but we could, have special meetings or wait until our December meetings and still have time. It's due to the county by December 13th. So that following, which one? So I'm sorry, yeah, December 13th, Friday the 13th. So this week is the last week that, the week of that 9th is the last week to get everything to the county.
Chief, have you had any, requests for information from the public or questions or interaction with the city councils?
I met with Dave and a while back, and that was partly on the lid lift and partly on the RFA. I've had some questions here and there, but nothing super. I am developing right now, and I'll share it, put it on the website and share it. I'm trying to prepare a presentation for next week. So that we can talk about all this information, and have dialogue, about the benefits and the impacts and so forth. We are advertising, we put it on our, we've sent it to the cities, it's on our website, I believe it's on social media, to advertise the public meeting next week.
The brochure that we sent out, the email, that same one, went out to.
I believe, yeah, so, I didn't send it to the cities, I had somebody else send it to them, but I know that, Rob Lindsay has already responded, and so did Phil. Phil Lake Forest Park, city manager, Phil, I don't want to say. I'm blanking right now, and I have also set up or asked for the city of Shoreline if they'd like me to come and talk to them. I've got dates set up with Lake Forest Park and Kenmore, and trying to follow up with both cities in late November, early December, to give the presentation, the one I'm working on right now for next week, to give it to the city councils too, so that anybody that missed our public meeting could go to that for informational purposes. Yeah.
How did those?
It's a work in progress. I'm still working on this stuff. Sorry.
How did those interactions go with the city council?
I haven't had much with them, just emails and, a couple of questions like, when is it going on the ballot? Where are we at in the process? Nothing really specific. I pointed them to the FAQ on the website. That doesn't have a lot of details yet. I'm expecting to populate all that next week, as we get the presentation done. So that they can have more details, and hopefully by then, I can, like I said, I can finish up some of these cost forecasting more accurately. Next week might be a little closer. Within the next couple of weeks, I would hope that I can have something that's 98% there.
In terms of the budget?
Yeah, I need to have the budget wrapped up here within the next couple of weeks anyway. So I can come back to the boards, we have a joint meeting next Tuesday. So next Monday is our RFA public meeting, and then next Tuesday is our joint board meeting to discuss the budget. So I need that done this week, so I can get it to you guys so you can start digesting it. So and then And it's not gonna be finalized next Tuesday, but enough, so it's close, so that we can have a conversation about it. And then, I can continue working on it, and then the following, meetings will be, the public hearing. And then the document.
So we should get a copy of that before next weekend, probably.
Yeah.
So we have the weekend to work on it.
Try.
I know, it's,
That's
that's much good to get it to like Monday night.
well, and yeah, I'm gonna try and get it done on Thursday. I've got OMC tomorrow and the negotiations Wednesday, so the time will be a little bit limited. But like I said, I've gone through the entire budget once, but I still have some holes that I need to get confirmation. The biggest question is capital items too, and I owe the North Shore board as well an update on our capital items in what we're looking at for 2025. And I have given you guys briefings on that, but I need to finalize. I'm digressing. I need to stay focused on the RFA. Sorry.
Well, kind of.
Well, it's not an agenda. It's not an agenda.
It isn't, but it's budgets.
I mean, they're all tied together to some degree, but
Are there any further comments or questions?
Amy other.
Amy.
sorry, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Josh. Amy?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I captured things for the minutes. So it sounded to me that the RFA Planning Committee has agreed to move forward with a forecast model that's 70 cents per $1,000 assessed value. Is that correct?
On the fire tax levy, correct?
Okay. And then legal counsel Brian Snur will provide you with the language to include in the draft plan that sort of gives the most flexibility.
I think we have most of it already, but we should review it again.
Okay,
I think we have language that's fairly flexible.
Brian shaking his head yes too.
okay, good. And then I have more things. Hold on. I have notes written in multiple places. So the this is a logistics question. In order for each board, North Shore and Shoreline, to do a joint resolution, does the RFA Planning Committee need to do some sort of a resolution on a final RFA plan before it goes to each board individually?
I believe, and Brian can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that the plan, it goes to each board individually, not as a joint resolution or individual resolution. Is that correct, Brian?
The planning committee will pass a motion recommending approval of the plan, assuming they do, to both boards of commissioners of the districts. There will then be a joint resolution that each board approves independent, but it's a single
Oh,
resolution.
it's still a joint resolution. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We would need to do that before I take it to the boards.
So that
Usually.
was, yeah, that's where I was going, just thinking through the calendar. So next Monday is a public information session and Q&A. That's October 28th. And then if we were to stick to our regular cadence for these RFA planning meetings, we would have one on Monday, November 18th. So if the plan is ready by November 18th, theoretically, this RFA Planning Committee could come together and make a motion, what Brian Snur just said, make a motion to recommend that each board approve it on the 18th. North Shore will have their special meeting on the 19th, and Shoreline will have their regular meeting on the 21st, at which point that joint resolution could be passed by each board. But it would require that the joint resolution is drafted and ready to go on the 19th. So my question is, do you want to have an RFA planning meeting on November 18th, or do you want to move that up a week in order to give more time for the joint resolution to be drafted.
I would prefer the week before, so that we, so we have time between the public meeting and input from there, if we need to make any final tweaks. And then, the week before, have another meeting, and then any final tweaks from that, for resolutions to be passed at the following week.
So
So
that would be-
the week before is November 11th, which is a holiday, but if you are all available, that could be a date to meet.
Veterans Day.
That's Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Or the 12th.
I think, yeah, we don't have it on schedule.
I can do it the 12th.
I'm not available on the 12th, but maybe Beatrice could be there. Because it should just be a single item of making a motion, the draft plan being finalized in final form, and then a motion to approve that it be signed. I'll have to think the wording. Maybe Brian, you can fill in with the wording. Thank you.
And recommend approval. Yeah.
Can you
So-
repeat that?
Be a motion recommending approval of the RFA plan.
Yes, thank you. And that should be the only, at that point, should be the only action to be taken at that meeting, because the plan should be final at that point.
I can't imagine unless there's a lot of changes that are coming out of the public meeting next week, that we can't make that happen. Are you guys available on the 12th?
I can make it happen
Zoom, yes.
So, sure, yeah,
in person.
okay.
Yeah, I guess I could be on Zoom. I just have something at 6 o'clock.
Okay,
Should,
well, if we do it at 5 o'clock, theoretically, we might be done too.
Josh, are you okay with the 12th?
Yeah,
Oh, so it's for you to get here, 5 o'clock.
So that will be November 12th at 5 p.m. And do you want to have that meeting at North Shore or at Shoreline?
it's easier for me to get to North Shore at 5 o'clock, but I don't want to impose
Saturday.
It doesn't matter. We can move it to 5:15 too. It's only gonna take a few minutes if it's
Let's go North Shore at 5.
5, okay.
So Amy, so we'll go North Shore for our next meetings, the public meeting at North Shore, we'll follow that up on the 12th and North Shore again.
Okay.
Um,
I'll make a calendar invite so it'll all be in your Outlook.
And I will not be available on the 12th because I have a regular meeting that conflicts with this, but if you're just meeting to approve the plan, I can review the motion language and everything in advance, so.
yeah, you and I we'll make sure it's whatever it needs to be.
Okay, and then I have more questions. Is that okay? I'll keep going.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the FAQs, I think Chief, you said you're going to update those because I noticed the first question or second question mentions a March 1st effective date, so that needs to be changed to May 1st
Okay.
on the FAQs. And then for there's a website, and Jen and I worked last week to put all of the minutes and the recordings of these RFA planning committees on that website. That's just like a one click from the homepage, the Shoreline
Okay.
Fire homepage. So flyer for the 28th is there, as well as links to all the meeting minutes and the recordings. They're also on the North Shore board meeting page, but that's really buried in the website. So we just did hyperlinks to them. For that website, are there other materials in advance of the October 28th meeting that we should publish, like the forecast, an updated RFA plan? I don't know, other materials.
I would think yes, because I gotta get it done. I gotta get it done. I don't have it yet though.
Okay.
I would say, Chief, that the rough draft of the plan, but also, rough forecast of the budget as well. Would be good, even not a finalized plan, but to give the public some idea of where we're at, what we're talking about.
Okay. After the meeting, well, I will send you guys, because part of that is the North Shore budget too. I'll send you information on North Shore budget as well, if you guys can give me some feedback electronically. Not reply all, that would be great.
Okay.
So that I can put a rough proposal together.
Plenty of time for the next 2 days.
And then just for all of your information on October 7th, I sent out to publicize about the October 28th meeting. So I sent that to the North Shore mailing list. I had asked Jen to put it on the Shoreline News section of the website. I also sent it to both city councils. And did I already say Shoreline News and the North Shore mailing list? So it went out to all of those places on October 7th.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Mhm.
So before Amy goes, when you click on the more information on the website, it takes you to a Zoom meeting. Did you hear that, Amy?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Apparently, there's the one of the links on the webpage goes to a Zoom meeting, not to more information.
On that RFA page?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look at all those links and make sure I can update those links as well.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just double check them tonight.
Is there anything else, Amy?
No, that's the end of my list. Thank you.
Is there anything else, guys? Peeps? Okay, it is 5:55. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion, sir. Adjourn.
Been motioned by Commissioner Webster and seconded by Commissioner Callahan to adjourn. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night.
See everybody next week.